Today's presentation about some bad news, unfortunately, is coming out of Lansing. I'm going to be talking about how the Lansing lowlives have screwed us again. I have a colorful image on there that you may get a laugh or two out of the audience. I don't need sex, the government screws me every day.
Good evening and welcome to the July 2016 Oakland County Campaign for Liberty Action Briefing at Shields Pizza in Troy, Michigan.
We now will invite up someone who was, at a young age, has already made a great impact in the cause for liberty. He's done it as a Campaign for Liberty organizer and coordinator and volunteer. He's done it as a volunteer and writer for the 10th Amendment Center, as the director of the Michigan 10th Amendment Center, and now writing for the Liberty Conservative blog and Facebook and website. He is rising up and getting recognized all over Michigan, all over the country, all over the world, and just got plaudits from Tho Bishop of the Mises Institute. And that was really something. That's right. It's here for shame. He does great work, and he's going to tell us. Hang on here, Dave. Will you be streaming?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, the great Shane Trejo.
Howdy, everybody. All right, so I'm doing today's presentation about some bad news, unfortunately, that's coming out of Lansing. I'm going to be talking about how the Lansing lowlives have screwed us again. I have a colorful image on there that you may get a laugh or two out of the audience. I don't need sex, the government screws me every day. I think that applies for many of us. Next slide. So there are a couple of legislative betrayals that may be in the works. Key legislation is in jeopardy in Lansing right now. A very important bill to protect internet data privacy that was proposed by Jim Rumstead. Right now is in jeopardy. Another measure that would repeal Common Core that was originally introduced by Gary Glenn is also in jeopardy right now. So two of these best chances to push back against the feds this year in Lansing are being squandered right now needlessly. And time is running out for legislative action on these bills, and the powers that be are desperately trying to co-opt these efforts as we speak. Next slide. Let me talk briefly about House Joint Resolution N, a very important bill. It would allow the voters to amend the Michigan State Constitution to put in internet data privacy protections into the state constitution. So House Joint Resolution N would make sure that internet communications and data would receive the same protections as persons, places, people, effects, something to that. So this would give it the same protections in the Michigan State Constitution expected under the Fourth Amendment and under basic privacy rights. So it was passed by the Missouri voters in 2014 by a 75% margin. So 75-25 it was passed. And this would protect all electronic and data and communications from warrantless intrusion. So it's a very important bill. It's a very popular notion, very popular idea. Next slide. And that's indicated by how it passed through the House. It got a 107-to-1 vote in the House. It was approved last month. So that was very good news there. We're very happy to hear that. But all it needed was a vote on the Senate floor from that point on. And the Senate did not take a vote on it before the summer recess. So right now it's in limbo, and the problem is it's uncertain because this would bypass the governor, go straight to the voters if it was approved by the House and the Senate. So it needs to be passed with some sort of window. It needs to be passed earlier than the average bill, which could be shoved through as late as December. This needs to be passed earlier. So right now its future is currently up in the air. Representative Runstead has said that it's not totally dead at this point. There's going to be a push in September to revive this and make sure it goes through. But unfortunately, the Senate could have easily passed it last month or early this month, and they refused to do so, and they sat on the bill. So that's a setback. It's not totally dead yet, but right now it's in limbo. Next slide. Let's talk about Common Core now. Two substantial bills were authored to push back against Common Core. Representative Gary Glenn started the push by introducing HB 5444. He started it, and then Senator Colback came in later and introduced a mirror bill, SB 826. So the Senate version, for some reason, was chosen, given the committee hearings, all the focus was put on the Senate bill. So it passed the Senate Education Committee by a 4-1 vote, April 26th. I was proud to be there in attendance that day. Next slide. And it was very powerful testimony given by Corey Prestow. He said he was going on about how the the supposedly rigorous Common Core testing regimen was basically making his life in school living hell. He said when he took the test, he was very frustrated, not knowing if he answered the questions correct. He even asked him questions that he had not learned in school yet, and that scared him because he didn't know if he was going to pass the test. And the kids like Cody are they're who were supposedly originally very amped about their education, who wanted to learn, doing good in school. Now they're having their souls crushed by this Common Core testing regime, which is designed to basically teach the kids drivel, teach the kids to force their way through to find these ridiculous solutions so that they'll become good little consumers later on in life. So he gave that powerful testimony, and there were a lot of other kids in attendance who were willing to give that testimony as well, but they weren't heard. But Cody was, and thank God that the Senate did pass that bill. The Senate Education Committee did pass that bill that day. So that was some good news, but it got worse from there, of course. Next slide. So the initial momentum was squandered. Senator Colbeck was the bill sponsor. He was not the original bill sponsor of the initiative. That was Gary Glenn. He came on later and put a bill in through the Senate. So he started working on a substitute bill and cut out all the grassroots organizers who had helped draft the bill, who understood Common Core nationally, the Stop Common Core in Michigan, women who were so influential and are so knowledgeable, they were shut out of the process. So the fear was that Governor Snyder would not support such a strong bill, so now it's being watered down. And the new language in the bill that would allow the feds or the MED to re-implement Common Core rather easily. Next slide. The new language, according to Campaign for Liberty, reads as follows. The department and any other state public employee or authority shall take all steps necessary to terminate areas of federal control of the Michigan educational process that are not considered to be in the best interests of the pupils in the state. So what does that really mean? It's all up for grabs. It all depends on what the bureaucrats believe is in the best interest of the pupils. So that could be Common Core, that could be a rebranded Common Core, it could be another new horrible federal scheme, who knows. So all manner of federal control will be justified under this new provision, and the language was written to put the power in the hands of uncontrollable bureaucrats. Leave it to their discretion rather than making the language very obvious and very hard to circumvent once it was put into place. And Senator Colbeck, unfortunately, has been leading the charge to water down this bill. Next slide. And it also, the process mirrors what has happened in other states when Common Core bills were destroyed. Tennessee passed a Common Core reform, but it gave the State Board of Education ultimate control over the new curriculum that would be implemented in place in Common Core. And of course, they chose something that was just a rebranded version of Common Core. Indiana passed a Common Core reform that required the new standards to be in compliance with federal standards under the No Child Left Behind Act. So they kept the federal strings attached, which undermined local and state control and allowed the bureaucrats to put in the same old nonsense. Next slide. The West Virginia legislature, similar thing happened there. The new reform was originally a good bill, but then they edited it during committee. They amended it, and it used Common Core as the basis for the new standards. The revision of the standards was called for a revision of the standards, not a full repeal, and it kept the data sharing agreements with the feds intact. And although the governor vetoed that bill in West Virginia, it still shows how the process is used against us, how they will take these bills that were originally introduced very well, very strong language, repeal Common Core, and would do everything that someone who wanted education freedom would ask for. That was unfortunately jettisoned in all these states, and terrible bills were replaced, were the replacements. And Michigan this process seems to be happening in Michigan right now, and we got to make sure that we're not bamboozled like the other states were. Next slide. So take these action steps. Just go to The website, it's senate.michigan.gov/FYS by address.html. You can find out what your state senator's contact information is there. What I usually do is I could just type in, Michigan State Senator contact info into Google or something. You can find the information that way as well. So what you should do to help these bills along, make sure that you know what's happening. You know that that they're trying to screw you. Let them know that this is unacceptable. You're the watchdog. You can't be fooled, and that you're not going to take no for an answer. You're going to tell the community about what's going on. So give a call to your own senator for the Internet Data Privacy Bill, HJRN. Call Arlen Meekoff. Obviously Arlen Meekoff's a scumbag. No doubt about that, 110%. But if he gets enough, if he's deluged with enough calls, if he gets enough pressure, he will capitulate, he will roll over, and he will allow the bill to be voted on. So make sure to give him a call. For Common Core, just find your state senator's information. Tell them to pass the original Common Core repeal bill with no substitutes, and that we want a vote at the July 13th session. So it's very important that you call them as soon as possible, your state senator, and give Pat Colbeck a call while you're at it. Urge him to get his original bill passed. Right now, it's still all up in the air. None of the proposed substitute bills have been put into place yet. So the original bill could still go through and get a vote in the Senate, and that's what we want. We want to see where all of our legislators stand on the Common Core bill. We want to see if they have the stones, so to speak, to actually vote against it. And if they don't, then they need to be voted out, and they need to be demonized, and they need to be shown as the oath breakers and the cowards that we all know they are. So Senator Colbeck wants to put up that substitute bill so they can all prove it, they can all hold hands, and they can all have their little photo op. But we need to stop that and make sure to call your state senator. Call Senator Pat Colbeck, tell him that you're on to what's going on right here, and again, give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he thinks that this needs to be done, a smaller measure needs to be taken, and that'll help. He needs to be informed that other states have tried to do what he's done, and it's backfired severely. So he needs to be rung up. Let him know to keep the original bill, no substitutes, no nonsense, and we need to be in touch with our state senators and let them know exactly what's going on and alert others as well. Thank you. Next slide. Additional resources. This is the privacy, more information about the privacy bill. Feel free to take a screenshot of that with your phones or something like that, and you can get those URLs. Do I have any time for questions or no?
Yes, because I got to get a picture of you, so
Okay.
yes, take a question.
Question. Pat?
Who's your senator?
Robertson.
That's mine too.
Yeah, I'm not too fond of that guy. Any
Bad guy.
any other questions? Mitchell?
Just a statement. Why are these assholes, why do they get to take all these large breaks and then they decide that they want to, we gotta go take a break and go enjoy our summer doing jack shit and just living off the taxpayers? It's just,
Yeah, it's a scam.
Follow the money, right? I mean, all these people are making money off the books that these kids from Houghton Mifflin, from Pearson,
Yes.
they are bought. I mean, they're not going to, they'll play their little game and say they're going to help you, but in the end, you're going to get it. And the only thing we can do as people, as we the people, is get rid of them. I mean, all of them. We need a clean house from top to bottom.
We need a purge. But the good news is, though, that Common Core is a corporate money grab. It's incredibly anti-freedom. So if more and more people now are becoming alerted to the problems here with Common Core, people on the left and the right. So this is an issue where we can have a bipartisan coalition and move these bills forward. The only problem is if we put forward some bad bill, like the substitute bill that Colbeck wants to pass, that will make people think that the problem has been solved and to go back to sleep and that education is fine. So that's the problem with passing that bad bill, is that it would put everyone to sleep and it would kill any chance for real reform in the future. It would make things drastically worse. So we need to stay vigilant, let our neighbors know what's going on, make sure that the calls are made, and that these guys know that we're on to them, and that they can't pull a fast one on us like what happened in other states. Thank you.